Okay, this is an explanation of your resource for this week, which is database-style websites. You see the icon, the picture in front of you that shows two different icons. One is the stacked cylinders and one is the folder. Both of those should make you think of organization, organizing things into manageable chunks. And that is what a database-style website is about. So, it's a way for that one site can give you access to lots and lots of information. So it gives the people access to the information all at one time so that multiple people can be finding things out, doing research all at the same time in an organized fashion. So it allows lots of people to have access to lots of information by going to one website. All right. So again, another icon that sort of should help us get our minds around this is the information. Look at that picture, not as the information going from the computers to the server, although it could be that way with a website gathering information from multiple users. With our modern technology, that is totally possible. But it's also a way for the server to send the information to the multiple users, organized in one fashion or another. And so you have several different types of database-style websites. One is a general website. One is a specific one. You see in front of you the home screen picture of the Library of Congress's website in the American Memories section. You see in the upper corner the icon Jackie Robinson American Memory. Then you see the homeless mother from the Great Depression pictures under prints and photographs. And then you see another collection called Historic Newspapers. I mean, you can see them, you can read them for yourselves. It's just a way, and you can see all of the menu selections that go down here under Topics, and over here under About the Library, lots of links to different collections. And we'll go into this later, but when you go into one of these collections, you find lots of other specific resources that you can search on in an organized fashion, which, by the way, a good search tool is one sign of a good database-style website. But these things can be very useful in helping you find out information by not going to 15 billion different websites, but by going to one that has already gathered and organized good, useful research information. Now here's another one, another good one, the National Archives. And you can see that it has records that you can research, original documents, Veterans Service records, you can get to some of them, resources for teachers that has links to collections from inside there. This is just showing you that you see one mark of a good database-style website is that the first page that you go to gives you windows into specifically where you want to go to get some basic information. And here's another general one. It's done by university, George Mason University, and it's called History Matters. And you see down below the icon pictures that there's different types of things that you can get to, but it's a one-stop shop, basically, where you can use their search tool to go and find specifically sources, specifically organized sources that meet your research needs, what you need to find out, instead of just doing a regular Google search and looking at all the hits you get on that. This is already gathered and organized things. This one, of course, is on history, but there are database-style websites on most any topic. Now this one's a little different. It's still a database-style website because it has collected lots and lots of material, but this is a specific one done by Indiana University School of Journalism on the World War II era journalist Ernie Pyle, very famous back then. Actually died in a battle in the Pacific Theater during World War II. But this gives you links to photographs, to information about him, to information about the classes and the scholars that are basically having an opportunity to study based on him. But the biggest thing it does is it gives you links into a lot of his writings. Instead of having to just, again, go and do a general web browser search for Ernie Pyle material, you could come here and find a lot of it. So it's been organized for you in a specific way that helps you make meaning out of it. Because anything that helps you make meaning in your research process is going to make your research process easier. And so you see what is a database? What is a database? Well, you see there a collection of related, organized for convenient access, generally in a computer. I mean, nowadays, yes, they are in computers. So a website you add onto that, it organizes thing in a website and gives people access to it. Information. So we can oftentimes think that better ones are compiled and run by a governmental organization such as Library of Congress and National Archives. There are excellent ones run by organizations. And in a while, we're going to go and talk about some of the good and bad signs of database-style websites. But those are things to keep in mind when you're actually searching through. You might do a Google search on a topic, and you might get your way into a database-style website. And you really should be thoughtful about whether it's good or bad. Now, how is this different than other types of websites? Well, oftentimes websites are specifically on one topic. And a database-style website might focus, for instance, on Ernie Pyle's writings, but it gives you access to lots of different types of Ernie Pyle's writings. So in that sense, it is a database. So that's what a database-style website is different from others, is that it gives you access to lots of varied information that still might be focused around one topic. And you can be looking at this information. You can pause the video if you don't want to listen to me talk, because I'm not going to talk and read all this to you. But there are things about why and how they should be useful. If you find a good database-style website and you do thoughtfully make search terms, it can save you time in your research process. And I don't know that there's many of us who've ever done research and not felt that we were running out of time. So anything you can do to organize your work and do it more efficiently, of course, is a good thing. But the database-style website also allows you to focus on specific topics in different ways. Because you might go to a database-style website and search on something like Iwo Jima landing and find other resources you weren't thinking of that could be useful to you. So that's why a database-style website based on a good-made or well-made research term can help you do your job. And then again, when you go in there, you're going to use a search tool. If a database-style website doesn't have a search tool, it's not a well-made one. How do you make them? Flexibly. Don't try to be too narrow specific all the time, because you can cut out some good points. But again, you also don't want to be too broad, because then you get too much and you turn it into nothing more than a basic browser Google type search, and you have to still weed through things. So be specific, but be flexible enough that if you find yourself that you need to widen it in order to pull in possible information, for instance, you might put quotes around something and not find enough, but if you remove the quotes, you might find information that still relates to what you're looking for. All right, signs of a good database-style website. Again, as we already said, the .gov, the .mil, the .org, and .edu addresses could be signs of good ones, but you also got to be careful, because a .edu website might be one made by, for instance, elementary school students or even middle school students, and maybe they're not the most well-versed in what they're talking about, students, but they're doing good for their level, but you might not want to trust it if you're a college or a PhD level researcher. So you got to be careful about what you're actually looking at. Just because it has that suffix on the web address doesn't mean it's good, although it's a sign. And number two, that the place putting the information out is part of some well-known organization, such as a university, the History Matters website, or a school of journalism, or an internationally known website that gives lots and lots of information. So we'll close those down and then move on. Okay. What is this one? What do you think this is? The National Science Foundation. NationalScienceFoundation.gov, so it's a governmental organization, and it does have information, and it does have a search tool, so this probably is a good database-style website. All right. Number 3. Contact information is clearly available. It should hopefully indicate some type of hierarchy, is that there's lines of authority, so there's somebody checking up on what's being done, some different level of bosses. So let's go look at the Library of Congress one. Contact information, well, it has Ask a Librarian. It has down here at the bottom, Contact Us, and we click on that, and it gives us a bunch of different telephone numbers we could call, and it gives us a place if we're making copyright inquiries we can check. It gives us a place, and this is a good sign that they really care about what they're doing, when it gives you the opportunity to give comments, so that they're looking to make what they do better by accepting comments. And let's look at this one. This is pretty important. Connect. We go here, and it has, we can sign up for email updates, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, different ways you can share information and they can share with you. The museum itself, it gives you directions, planning a visit, all kinds of contact information that you can get here. And we go down here to the bottom one, and we say Contact Us, and it lets you submit to them a request for information. So these are signs of good database style websites when they basically make themselves accountable by sharing this information with you. Now I want you to look at the bottom of this page when we get there. So you look at that and you think, how many different ways is contact information given here? You can connect to them through all manner of social media. There's the frequently asked questions. You can submit questions by forms, all different types of ways. You can find out what other people are saying about them. Contact information. They're looking for feedback. They're looking to make what they do better. Number 4. Some indication they view themselves as a research source. So let's go back to the Holocaust Museum's website. And if you look up here under Education, helping teachers and students, research, and then it has a whole menu selection on research. The Center for Advanced Holocaust Studies, the Survivor Victims Resource Center, Collections and Archives, the library. They have a wonderful library and additional collections and archives that are not accessible on their website right there at the museum in Washington, D.C. And you can go there to do research. So they do make resources available both on the web, database-style website, and invite you to come in to do it. So they do view themselves, obviously, as a research source. And number 5, a site provides links to other sites giving the same or similar information. That's what a website, database-style website does, is takes you to other sources of information. And usually it can appear under a menu selection called links. So those are the things you look for, is links to other sites. And here are some quick things that you can read. Other important information that can be used to identify a well-done website. So you can pause it, look that list over. Not going to read it to you, but these are important things for you to keep in mind as you're preparing whatever work you might have to do based on what you're learning in this video. So you can pause the video, but I'm now going to go on to the Yad Vashem website. Now, there's a reason I haven't told you yet what the topic is. Because a well-designed website will very quickly, if you don't know the name of it, let you discern what it means. So it has something to do with, well, there's something burning here, and there's the Star of David up there. So it has something to do with a Jewish synagogue being burned. Now, when was a historic time that that happened? Well, you could scroll down through. You also see a book called Ghettos that they're selling. It's about the Holocaust. Yes, this is the Israeli Holocaust Museum. And you can see that, again, it has the research focus, and it talks about us. So this is that whole contact us and feedback type of thing. And again, it gives you access. We don't have enough time for me to explain all of the information that you can get here. Obviously, it's about the Holocaust, but there's a whole lot more information, specific subtopics that are useful for you to know about. So, the database style website gives you, again, access to lots and lots of information. Now, I want to go to this one to show you some really interesting stuff about a database style website. This is the Library of Congress Veterans History Project, where they went out and they interviewed lots and lots of veterans of different conflicts the United States has been involved in. But just to show you how a database style website works, we're going to go to the search the veterans collections. And you can search for veterans information all the way from World War I to the Afghanistan and Iraq Wars, 2001 to present. So let's just go and click on World War II, and we'll click Marine Corps, and we'll just do a quick search to see, does anything happen when we do that without a search term? And it does. Now, we have 12 pages of stuff, and there's lots of entries on each page. Now, obviously, if we were doing a search, we wouldn't do it like this. I just did this to show you how there's lots of information accessible from this database style website. So let's go back, and we'll type in Iwo Jima. And I have to change that to notes. We'll see if that works. All right. So we still have 12 pages because a lot of the Marines would have been involved in that campaign. But you see some of them say digital collection. So we'll view the digital collection. So accessible right here from this database style website, we can hear an audio interview. We can get a transcript of the interview. And we can see this man's photo album. So we can start to tell the stories of the people that fought there without having to search painstakingly with a Google tool. So once again, I'm going to show you something here. This is, as you recognize this, we've already looked at this National Archives website. We're going to go here to this collection, and you see, all right, it's a database style website. Then we searched World War II. Now we have all the way from African Americans during World War II photographs down to World War II sound recordings. Sound recordings, you mean they can put this? Yes, of course they can in a modern day web. So we see sound recordings, voices of World War II. We'll go to 1945, and it lists for you sound recordings, not accessible on the web, but sound recordings that you could get were you to go to research at National Archives. So we'll go back. Look at another one real quick as we wind up. This first one, photographs of African Americans during World War II. So it shows you African American men. And again, it's a database focused down to World War II, focused down to African Americans. Then it goes down to focus it down to these subtopics right here, African Americans in all these specific areas. Now stop and think for a minute. If you're trying to search for an African American Marine Corps person, picture of them, what's easier? To do it on the Google, which, if you know how, it doesn't take that much time, or to find a well-designed database-style website. So, there are benefits. It does work and help you, and I hope this helped you learn.